Okay, so how about, yeah, if you rolled onto your side, just have a couple more breaths there. You're nice and warm by the fire around you. Appreciate it. So then roll back onto your backs. And so we're going to make a start now with the proper class. And anyway, Rachel might turn up in the next day. So maybe just to start with, lengthen your legs out on the floor because you've had your knees bent quite a lot. Lengthen your legs out. Give your legs a little bit of a roll or a bounce, just a sort of chance to let the legs be long. And then from there, you're going to be bending your knees, standing your feet on the floor. Good. And again, have your feet a little distance apart. So some of you have done this. So if you do need any tissues at any point, you know, some on top of the card. You brought some as well, yeah. Good. And so come to letting your knees tilt to the right and to the left. That's it. And just find a sort of rhythm with this. So rather than letting your knees stay there, just let them go from side to side a little bit. So if you've already been doing this, then it might feel quite easy. But you just want to find a sort of little rhythmic, easy, enjoyable movement. So all of the things we do at the beginning of class, lying down, are just, you know, they should be easy and relaxing, and we shouldn't be pushing ourselves. And just do this once or twice more to each side. And then come to settle in the centre. And then we're going to do a movement for the upper body. So it's up to you. You can keep your knees bent or you can lengthen your legs out, whichever is more comfortable. And you're then going to take your arms up towards the ceiling over your chest. And you're going to make a big circle with your arms and interlink your fingers. So you imagine you're holding a beach ball on your chest. And then you're going to start to rock a little bit from side to side across your upper back, but not your knees. So that's it. But your head could move. And you want to keep your circle circular. So you might not go too far with this, yeah? And you might start off by sort of looking at your hands. And then once you sort of know what you're doing, you could close your eyes. And that's nice. Just feel how you're rocking across your upper back. The weight's shifting to the back of the right shoulder, the back of the left shoulder. Good. Try and make your jaw be soft and relaxed. You can open your mouth briefly and close it. And we're going to stop in a moment, but you can stop sooner if your arms get tired or if anything starts to feel uncomfortable. Otherwise, just a couple more times, rocking to the right and to the left. And then just let the arms come to rest there. And let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. Let the weight of your body settle down onto the ground. And come back, if your legs are long, bend your knees now and just come back a few times to tilting your knees to the right and to the left. Good, and again, just a sort of easy, rhythmic, comfortable movement. So once, twice more to each side. Pause in the centre, and you're going to fold one knee into your chest and just hold around that knee for a moment. Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then from here, you're going to lengthen that leg up towards the ceiling, and you could give your leg a bit of a shake out to start with. Yes, and exactly, Kim, it's really good to interlink your fingers around the back of your thigh so you can support the leg, and you can maybe let your leg straighten up a bit more, Rebecca, if you wanted to. That's it. And the other thing that's quite nice is to circle your ankle here. So it's just, yeah, taking your leg up towards the ceiling, whatever feels nice in terms of giving your leg a shake out. Yes, you can point the toe, point the heels, another thing to do. So often, you know, we can take our leg into this position and as we feel sort of compelled to do something. And then just just let that foot come back onto the floor, fold the other knee into your chest, let a breath come in, let a breath leave, and then take that second leg up towards the ceiling. And again, just be led by what you feel compelled to do. So you could be shaking your leg out, yeah, interlinking your fingers around the back of your leg to support it. You can always slide your hand a bit more down your thigh, Rebecca. Yeah, that's it, good. Just circling the ankle. There's just often this really nice feeling when we take our legs up towards the ceiling. Let that leg come back down. We're going to come back to another movement for the upper body. In fact, we're going to come back to that movement with our arms in that big circle again. And then we can change it. So come back if you like. So come back to your arms being in that circle and rocking a little bit across your upper back. Good. Remember that the jaw be soft. That's it, good. And keep your circle circular. Don't let it go all squashy. It's quite easy to do. It's a sign you're going a bit too far if your circles get all squashy. And then if you like, you could move on to, there's another variation of this we do, Kim, where you take your arms into a triangle. Now, I find this is a bit more challenging on my upper back. So you touch the hands together in prayer pose and your elbows are straight. And you do the same movement, rocking side to side across the upper back. But I find if my upper back is feeling painful, and Ruth, just see how you go. I find sometimes it's the circle one is better. It feels more comfortable. But yeah, just see how you feel. So rocking side to side across your upper back, your head goes along with your arm. Keep soft and relaxed through the jaw. Keep letting the breath come in, letting the breath leave. But again, whenever your arms feel that they're getting tired, let them come down. And let a breath come in. So if you haven't brought your arms down now, it would probably be good to do so. And just, there is that thing, we've moved our arms, then we're more able to let them rest and undo it. Let the breath come in, let the breath. And then from here, you're going to fold one knee into your chest again. Keep that knee folded in and then lengthen the other leg out on the floor. And the leg that's long on the ground, you could roll it a little bit from side to side. That's it. Just to settle that leg down on the ground. Good. And then what you're going to do from here is the knee that's folded into your chest. Now lengthen it back up to the ceiling. And yeah, and see how it feels when the other leg's are long. And what I'd like you to do a little bit of is just see, can you rock this leg a little bit side to side? That's it. So the leg that's going towards the ceiling, that's it. Can you let it rock side to side in the hip joint? Now it doesn't matter, your knee could be a bit bent. Yeah, that's it. Just see if there's a sort of comfortable rocking movement you can do supporting your leg. That's really nice. And I found when I was doing this earlier today that I sort of quite got into it after I've done it a little bit. So obviously if you've had enough, bring your leg down. But the more I did it, the more I sort of thought, oh, that feels easier. Obviously within reason. And then you can bring that leg down. You can maybe have both legs long for a moment. Yeah, feel long on the ground. And then when you're ready, you can fold the other knee into your chest and have a couple of breaths with the knee folded in towards you. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Lengthen this leg up towards the ceiling. A little bit of rocking the leg side to side in the hip joint. Try to just feel, because yeah, you might find that your body rocks a bit as well as the leg. So just sort of have this awareness of what is on. Can the leg rocking side to side in your hip joint? You might also feel that some of the rest of your body wants to come along with this movement, which is fine. Do that a few more times, and then when you're ready, you can lengthen this leg out on the floor. Sit, so let that leg be long. Let both legs be long for a moment. We're just going to do one more sort of rocking thing on our backs, and then we're going to be moving off our backs. So from here, then stand both feet on the floor. That's it. And then cross your arms over your chest as if you're giving yourself a hug. That's the one. And now start to let your head, your elbows and your knees all tilt to the right and then to the left. So you're rolling side to side across the back of your body. That's it. The whole of you is rolling to the right and to the left. And again, just it doesn't have to be a huge movement. It's what's most important is you're doing something that doesn't feel that you're pushing things. That's what we said. What's most important is to do something that feels enjoyable. And eventually, we're going to go over onto one side. It's probably good to come onto the side you can see me from first of all. We're going to be doing our side balance and Antasana, which I know a lot of us know anyway. But yeah, so give yourself a couple of little breaths on your side, and then we're going to be coming into this side balancing one. So you've got to, we lengthen out on the floor. And you've got a few options with your bottom arm. So your bottom arm could be long and you could rest your head down. I like to prop my head up in my hand, or you could make a little pillow out of your arm by bending your elbow, resting your head down. And if we have that, so we have the top hand on the floor in front of us, and we just try to feel that we're long and straight here. And we can do a little bit of rocking. That's it, sort of forwards and back, just to help ourselves settle. So I always like, because you come off your back, so you're not in danger of falling asleep. We're starting to wake up and liven up, but we're still lying down. From here, we're going to sort of settle down and rock. See how it feels to slide the top leg into trees. You might want to catch your ankle with your top hand, which means that hand comes off the floor, which is quite good. Lovely. And then from there, we'll let that knee come in towards our armpit on the top side of the body. Now, if you feel really wobbly at that point, you can bend your bottom knee and slide it forwards. Otherwise, keep that leg long. And then from here, we can catch somewhere on the leg, big toe, trouser leg, shin, ankle. Lengthen that top leg towards the ceiling. Yeah, so wherever you can catch is good. And just give yourself few breaths there. Perhaps see if you can feel that sort of feeling of stretching into both heels. So the heel that's on the ground and the heel that's up towards the ceiling. Then we'll make our way down. So we sort of go down back slowly. So come back through your knee being towards your armpit, back towards tree pose, back legs, and you'll take go on the top side of your body. And we're going to roll onto your belly and just settle down, maybe one hand on top of the other and your forehead on the top of your hands. Wiggle your pelvis. So the wiggling of the pelvis is just to help you settle down. You're going to have a quiet breath or two on your belly, and then you're going to make your way onto your other side, and we'll do that Antasana on the second side. So over on side two, I repeat side one. What is going to help? I'll just watch all of you. Yeah, so come and lengthen yourself out on your second side. Remember your bottom arm, you've got these options. You can prop up your head in your hands, or you can have lower if you lengthen out that bottom arm, or just bend the elbow and make a little bit below. If you have your top hand on the floor in front of you, you can rock your weight forwards and back. We're just thinking about how can we settle through the side of our body. So from this rocking, is your neck okay? Yeah. From rocking a little bit forwards and back, come and settle on your side. And then you can start to bring that top leg into tree pose. And we might need to catch our ankle, might like to catch our ankle to bring our foot further up our thigh. So it's quite good. You're taking your hand off the floor, comes in a bit more balance. You sink your heel into your thigh. And then from here, you can come on a bit further, folding your knee towards your armpit and the top side of your body. Have another breath or two there. Remember, you can bend your bottom, slide it forward if you're feeling wobbly. And then we can start to lengthen that leg up towards the ceiling. Where can you catch it? Trouser, ankle, big toe, around the back of your knee. Good. Just sort of breathing, settling. Breathing, settling. Good. And your eye to move way back down. And again, just sort of go through those stages. So your knee coming back towards your armpit, your foot coming back through tree pose, lengthening out that top leg, having a cycle of breath, just balancing on your side with your top arm resting along the top side of your body. And once again, we'll roll onto our belly and just we'll wiggle the pelvis, a couple of quiet cycles of breath. And then, so it depends how comfy you are on your belly. Because from our belly, we're child pose. So if you're nothing on your belly, stay there. Otherwise, fold into child pose. Just give yourself, so whenever you're ready, give yourselves a couple of breaths in child pose. Just seeing people are doing on Zoom. Yes, so from your belly into child pose, having a couple of breaths on child, and then we're going to be starting to move on hands and knees. So it might be that you want to turn around on your mat. So I know what's happened with Rachel tonight. She obviously maybe didn't come out of the bed. So you're going to come onto hands. We're going to start with a cat movement. So just settle yourself on hands and knees. I might just, if you don't mind, Rebecca, I'm just going to slightly turn the light on for a moment. Kim, how are you likewise? You've got a bit more that end. Okay, so hands and knees and some cat movements. Yes, so when you round your back like that, Kim, really let your head go. Try and let your head feel heavy. So rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine down to the floor. And just trying to, again, just sort of find some ease in the movements. We might be feeling a bit creaky. So we just want to go easy with the movements. Yeah. Rounding and dipping. If the back of the neck is feeling tight, and I mentioned this to some of you earlier in the beginning of class, we're going to be doing a bit of focusing on releasing the back of your neck. So if you are feeling tight, then let your head hang when you come into your rounded up cat. And then you can mix it up a little bit and add in a little bit of your tail wagging. So it's just really imagining you have a tail and you're wagging the tail. I mentioned the dog's name, or you can have it here. So obviously give us a very good demonstration. Yeah, so that's it, a bit of wagging your tail. And in fact, we're going to then sort of take this tail wagging in a couple of directions. So you can start by then sort of wagging your tail back towards child pose. So coming back into child, but keeping your elbows off the ground. So you sort of wagged your tail back towards child. And then I want you to sort of start to think about wagging your tail and moving forwards. And it's going to be into a very easy face-up dog. You might want your hands then a little bit further from your knees. So just wagging your tail, coming forwards, taking your weight over your hands more. And then just keep moving between the two. So wagging your tail back into child and wagging your tail forwards, but towards a very easy sort of tentative face-up dog. So it's possibly not even face-up dog. It's just taking the weight, taking the shoulders over the hands more. Yeah. And That's it. Good. Just going forwards and back once or twice more. Okay, now, next time you come into child pose, we're going to just see if we can, we're going to stay there. Exactly, going to stay in child. We're going to come from child into kneeling. So once you end up in child pose, then come into kneeling. And you've got a little bit of choice there. You could either be in kneeling, sitting on your heels, or if you're someone who prefers sitting down in between their heels in Virasana. So choose one. I'll show you what we're going to do, and that might sort of help you choose. Is we're just going to be going back a bit. So we're thinking about stretching into the thighs a little bit more. So we're thinking about going back and trying to let the pelvis tuck under. And we can do this either just in kneeling, or we can do it sitting down in between the heels. And if you're not sure, you can try a little bit in both. And then we're going to come back and do a little bit more of our moving towards face up dog. So we might not want to stay in either of these very long. Just, because this one is neck a bit tight. So come back perhaps first of all and just give each leg a lengthen out on hands and knees. That's it. And then you're going to come back to that tail wagging. So be in a long hands and knees position. So your hands are further forwards than your shoulders. And come back to wagging your tail back into child pose. Wagging your tail forwards towards face up dog. And you might find that you can go a little bit more comfortably towards your face up dog. Good, good. So do that perhaps a couple more times, and then we're going to come back into the kneeling or the Virasana, depending on your choice. And then so perhaps the next time you end up in child pose, coming into knee, that's it, very nice. Yeah, that was very nice. That's good for your neck. Doing that one, going forwards and that. So coming into your kneeling or your Virasana, and just this sort of going back, thinking about the pelvis tucking under. This can get a little bit challenging through the shoulders and the neck. So don't stay there too long. You can always shuffle back and have your back against a wall or a sofa. Yes, you're quite there. Exactly. And then just a couple of breaths. We're thinking about lengthening through here. And then again, come back onto hands and knees. Just give each leg a bit of a stretch out behind you. And then one last time. Long hands and knees position. A bit of moving with your tail wagging. So you've got this long hands and knees, you're wagging your tail back into child. I tend to keep my elbows off the floor in that child because then I'm coming forwards towards face up dog. And you could, do that another 2, 3 times, whatever you like. Obviously, if you come into face up dog and you think, okay, that's feeling quite nice. I can't guarantee it will be, but if it is feeling that you want to stay there for a breath or two, of course, do that. And then whenever you've had enough, you're going to end up back in child pose. And just in a child pose where you're really settling down. Wiggle yourself back into child and then settle down in child. Elbows on the floor now. Just making yourself as comfortable as possible. That's good. We're going to have this just little sort of focus as we settle in child and breathe. Come to focusing your awareness on the base of your neck, traveling through the shoulders and through the arms. So as we exhale, we imagine the out-breath leaves through the base of the neck, the shoulders, down through the arms and the hands. And at the exhalation softens this whole part of us. The neck, the shoulders, the arms. It's maybe another cycle or two of breath. This visualization, this imagining of the out breath, leaving through the base of the neck, softening the shoulders, blowing out through the arms and the hands. And when you're ready, we're going to come on into, you might wonder where it is, we're going to come on into dog pose. We're going to come into dog and then a forward bend and standing. And in the dog pose, I'd like you to just come back to this, depending how dog pose feels, but come back to this notion of, can I soften in my shoulders and arms when I exhale? Big handprints on the floor, and tuck your toes under, and rock your hips back over your heels. And let yourself arrive in dog. And it really depends how your dog feels. If it's feeling quite stiff in the back of your legs, you might need to focus on bending one knee, bending both knees. And also just see, is it possible? Is it possible to tune into how you're feeling across the back of the shoulders, in the back of the neck? Is it possible to imagine those parts of your body softening as you exhale? And sometimes our breathing can feel strange when we're upside down in dog. I tend to breathe through my mouth more, I know that. From dog pose, so if you're enjoying dog, you can stay there longer. From dog pose, you're going to be walking your hands in towards your feet, arriving in a forward bend. When you arrive in that forward bend, it might be that you want to bend your knees and rest your elbows on your thighs. It might be you're happy to let your arms hang towards the ground and let your head go. That's it, really important to set the head. And then from here, we're going to let a breath come in. We're going to exhale, sink down into your heels. Roll the way up into standing. Let's see everyone up and standing. Let's just settle down there. Ruth, because I haven't seen you for ages on the Thursday. Probably it's like dark, isn't it? It's like nighttime now. So just settle down with your feet a little distance apart. And the first thing I'd like you to do, you can just let your arms hang. You can do a little bit of swaying from side to side. But I'd like you to close your eyes and just really tune into, again, how do your neck and shoulders feel? And just as much as possible, let the shoulders drop, let the arms hang. Good. In fact, from here, we're going to then just start coming to, you can open our eyes and come into our sort of loose, easy swinging twist. That's it. Make sure you've got enough space. You can let your feet move on the floor. Try and let your arms feel really fluid. Perhaps they slap onto your body. That's it. So, yeah, as much as possible, we're trying to let the arms feel light. I don't always feel light at all. Like our arms can feel very heavy and tired at times. Good. Okay. A few more times. Swinging the arms, slapping them onto, if you like. I like that one just to wake me up a little bit. We don't want to wake up in the evening. Maybe just a little bit for the next sort of 20 minutes or so. Okay. Good. Let that go. We're actually going to come to the back of our mat and we're going to come into a bit of a sequence. So we're going to be, let's see, we're going to be, first of all, at the back of your mat, you're going to do some of this reach into one arm and then the other. Just, feeling long through. Good. Good. the back of the mat, reaching up into one arm. And we're going to go all the way down into a forward bend. And then in the forward bend, you're going to sweep your arms from side to side around the fronts of your feet. That's it, this sort of weeping willow movement. Good. From being in your forward bend, sweeping your arms from side to side. Then start to walk your hands forwards into dog pose. And just, yeah, that's it. When do you dog pose you like? So, good. Forward bend, you've walked your hands forwards into dog pose. And then in your dog pose, on one leg dog poses. So off the floor, leg off the floor. That's it. You can, that's nice. Keep rolling, stretching into your heel and straightening that top leg and just feeling really long. It's good. And just a couple, do this on each side. You don't need to stay there long. Just how does it feel? How does it feel to take the leg off the ground? How does it feel to maybe roll the pelvis? So that's nice. Yes. And then stretch into your heel possibly. Good. Very nice. So when you've done this on both sides, you're then going to make your way back into your forward bend. Walking your hands in towards your feet. Arriving in the forward bend. And as we roll up into standing, we're going to take our arms straight up towards the ceiling. Okay, so as you roll up into standing, you can sort of trail your fingers up the front of your body, all the way up. So you come back to this reaching up into one arm and then good. Very nice. And then from here, we're going to go back down into our forward bend. So sort of curling the arms in. When we're down in the forward bend, sweeping the arms from side to side around the fronts of our feet. So just trying to keep some sort of fluidity in movement and letting the head go. And then you can pause in the center. You're going to walk your hands forwards into dog pose. You don't have to do your one-legged dog poses, but they look really fantastic. So if you want to give them a go, second time, you can do. And just that lovely feeling of being really expansive in your body. Good. Let the pelvis sort of roll away from the leg that remains on the floor. Reach into your heel. That's very nice. So do just a couple of breaths on each side. You don't stay there long. Really nice. And so from dog pose, when you've done your one leg sort of dog pose on both sides, walk your hands back in towards your feet, back into a forward bend. Just organize your feet at that point, settle well into your heels. So let's roll up into standing. Let's touch the backs of our hands together. And as you roll up into standing, trail your hands up the front of your body. That's it, all the way up to the ceiling. And just then you can take your arms out in a big circle. Good. Okay, and just have a little shake out. Come back towards the center of your mat. And what I'd like you to do now is just settle again in standing. And again, perhaps just focus in on how your neck and shoulders are feeling. So again, you might want to just let the arms hang, the shoulders drop. And if you're feeling a bit tight in the neck or the shoulders, bring your fingers to the neck and the shoulders and just give yourself a little bit of a massage. It doesn't, when we say a little bit of a massage, it can just be just a bit of pressing and then releasing. We don't have to get in and dig around too much if you particularly want to. Just pressing and releasing, encouraging this sort of flow of blood spaces that can be quite tight. If you're not feeling it all tight there, then it still can feel quite nice. You can just release your hands, give them a shake out. We're going to see now how it feels to bring our weight onto one foot, just in quite a simple balance. So you're going to start by reaching up through your right arm. This is your balance, isn't it, Ruth? So reaching into your right arm, shifting your weight onto your right leg and foot. Let your right shoulder keep down away from your ear. Shifting your weight onto your right leg and foot, and you're going to be catching the top of your left foot and letting your knee drop down towards the floor. Or you can catch your trouser leg. So you're reaching up through your right arm and you're catching your left foot. Yeah, so your weight's coming onto your right foot. Good. And then that raised arm, you can just bring your hand down onto your breastbone. Just sort of settle there. Thinking about the knee dropping towards the floor, the shoulders softening. If the hand comes onto the breastbone, that can just help us to quieten and settle. Let the breath come in, let the breath. I was just thinking, you might not want to turn around actually. I was just thinking, probably it's better not so good at this point because you could have your mat long way, so if you wanted to kick. I'll move this other one and then you can decide. It's just when you're balancing, you might be your daughter. Yes, I was thinking, it's best not to be looking at each other. If you're both staring at each other, that's not going to help. She's so okay, so start to then reach up through the other arm, the left arm, and start to shift your weight over your left leg and foot. And then we're just trying to sneak the right foot off the floor and catch the top of that foot. Good. We can have perhaps a cycle of breath with our arm raised, but maybe the shoulder relaxed. Then your hand can come down onto your breast. See how it feels to settle in the balance, and it's fine. It's fine if we topple out. So the whole balancing is we're trying to sort of withstand these little wobbles, and sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. We can just sort of catch our foot again. Wild and windy weather, it's a bit harder to balance. Let's shake out. We're going to come to another balance in a moment. We did last week. Jan, you're doing a lot of this because I'm doing quite a few of my classes. First of all, let's just come to, yes, we're going to do a little forwards in the centre of your mat, facing the long, because we're going forwards and forward bend with our feet, and we've got, so feet a little distance apart, fold, having a little breath here. Good. And then from there, you can just walk your feet. You're not going to walk them very wide. You're going to walk them a little bit wider. See as wide that distance apart, and then see how it feels. Come there, of course, bend both knees. If you like to sort of bend one knee, bend another, you can do. Just how does it feel with the feet a bit wider apart? Good. And then you could try to walking the feet a bit wider still. So it's sort of, this is the point at which it's like, well, yeah, how wide do I want to go? Yeah, exactly. You could be shifting your weight by bending one knee, bending the other. You could think, okay, I've gone wide enough, or perhaps I want to go a little bit wider. So, yeah, just sort of see how it feels. When your feet are quite wide, it's quite nice then to play around with walking your hands towards one foot and then the other. So I'm doing this with my knees being fairly straight. There's lots of different options. Good. And it's also just nice to pause in the centre, sink into your heels, let your spine fall forwards. Rebecca, you could have elbows so you're not, that's it, and let your head go. So again, it's a really good place here, Kim, to let your head go. Good. So really, yeah, that's it. Thinking into the heels. And another breath or two in that wide forward bend if you're happy there. If you're ready to come out, you can sink into your heels and come up into standing. Don't just stand with your legs wide. And then you could, yes, walk them back in. Really just give them a bit of shake out. So we're going to come into one more balance. And so some of you, I think some of you have been here last week. We did this last week. If you weren't here last week, it doesn't matter. Jan, we did it yesterday. We're doing it slightly differently today. So yeah, have a bit of disk space in front of you on your mat. And start with your feet side by side. And to start with, we're just going to step 1 foot forwards. And then we're going to be rocking our way forwards. And just use this sort of rocking forwards and back to help you drop down into your feet. And maybe as we drop down into our footprints, quite calming. And eventually we're going to let both feet settle down on the floor. And just have a look at your feet. And actually I always say in this one, to have both feet pointing forwards, but in fact, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting to turn our pelvis towards our back leg. You could sort of swing in and out of this. So what you probably want to do is actually turn out of it. Because if I turn, back foot wants to turn out to be more comfortable. You might also at this point, if you sort of stay there then with your pelvis coming to the side, a bit like we did in the dog pose with one-leg dog, you might also want to step your front foot a little bit further forwards. And then we bring our arms up to shoulder height. Yes, so Kim, you want to be facing your arms sort of in line. So your arms need to be in line with your front foot. That makes sense. No, keep your front foot where it is, but turn, that's it, exactly. So what we're going to do from here, you might just, if you're sort of turned away from me, you might just want to watch for a moment, is we're going to start to bend the front knee. And we're going to be trying to stay really wide, like this sort of full moon, as we start to tip forwards into half moon pose. But you want to just stay very sort of wide and expansive through your body, which is probably more like a full moon, okay? This might feel quite wobbly, and don't worry if it does, okay? I've been playing around with this quite a lot recently, so it's, yeah, you're just trying to shift your weight into your front foot and just keep going wide through the arms, through the back leg. Can you tip forwards a bit? Doesn't matter. If you wobble out, you can come back up. Very nice, yes, that's it. So you might tip down and your fingertips might touch the floor. Well done. Very nice. So try, yeah, well done. So you do have to allow yourself to wobble a bit. So you might want to just try that again on this with the same foot forwards. And this starting point, we're just feeling really sort of wide, like a full moon. I was thinking about why this pose is called half moon pose, but actually very expansive. Okay, we'll give the other, come up, we'll give the other side a go. Sorry, I'm just having a problem with the mute here. Okay, so yes, so turn around. You don't have to turn around. I'm turning around on my mat. You just need to step your other foot forward. So come back to feet being side to side and step the other foot forward. And so just preparation, when we're coming to balance, is quite helpful, I find, just for calming down. So, you know, especially on side 2, maybe when we know where we're going, we might get a little bit very excited or just wanting to get it out of the way. So eventually from rocking your weight forward and back, then settle down. And at this point, we're thinking about turning towards the back leg. So we might like to let our back foot turn out. It's really what's comfortable for your back knee. So yeah, I think if you're turning your pelvis this way, the foot probably naturally turns out a bit. We can let the front knee bend. We can bring our arms to shoulder height. And just before you go anywhere, have a sense of how expansive you are here. The sort of big, I was thinking of a sail before, like a sail on a boat. But then I do like this image of this sort of big, full, silvery moon. And just, yes, tipping forwards, staying wide. Staying wide. Might be that the middle finger touches the ground. For a moment, very good, very nice. And then try again. So come, so come all, if you try again, come all the way back. Can we get very hot there, Rebecca? No, it's not. Yes. Or have you got a rest on? Good. Try a couple of times, tipping forwards. That's good. That's quite cute. Yes, well done. Well done. I was keen to do this because for some of us we did it last week, and then some of you just doing it this week, so about to do it next week again. Have a little shake out now. Well done. If you want to do it again, by all means, do. Yes, very, very nice. Very nice. We are now going to be doing something much quieter. We're going to be coming and settling down, folding our mats up, and we're going to be just looking at possibly a bit of shoulder stand. I think you just want to do some rolling up and down with your feet on the wall because of your neck. See how it feels. Mm-hmm. But so yes, but we're not going directly into shoulder stand and rolling up and down. I want us to lie down and do a few things for the neck. So Rebecca, do you want to do this in the room or do you want to have your feet on the sofa? So Kim, you could have, if you fold your mat in half and then you could put your head up that end. So you're going to be, if you're not sure, look at me, I'm using the wall. So my head is coming off the top of the folded up mat. My feet are hopefully up a shelf I can put them on. In a moment we'll do some rolling up and down, but first of all, so see how it feels to bring your feet onto the wall, Kim, because I think you might need to my feet on your nice wall. I don't know, there's plenty of people put their feet on that wall. So I think you want to shuffle a bit nearer to the wall actually. You might even want to back nearer. Rebecca, you might need to, because you want to be able to put your feet on the edge of the sofa, so you might need to shuffle slightly further away from the sofa. Are we in a sort of position where we could, yeah, that's great if you're going to work in the middle of the room, Kayla, maybe just start with your feet down on the floor so we can just do a couple of neck type things. So yeah, it's fine to be in the middle of the room. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just to let your head roll a little bit from side to side. So Kim, again, if you use your hand on your forehead and actually, yeah, just one hand and use your hand to roll your head. And if anyone else is feeling tight in the neck, it's really helpful to do that. It's to have your one hand on your forehead and to use that hand and arm to roll your head from side to side. So the neck muscles can just be passive. And from rolling your head, then just find a comfortable place where you can settle the centre of the back of your head on the floor. And then again, if you like, come back to just giving your neck and your shoulders a little bit of a gentle massage. And it's probably really helpful at this point just to feel the back of your neck. Because if you are going to go into shoulder stand, it asks the back of the neck to lengthen quite a lot. So if your neck's feeling tight, then you just want to go easy with this. And then you can let your arms come to rest on the floor beside you. So when I was doing this earlier, I was doing shoulder stand in the room and I went in and out 3 times just to, you know, I didn't just do it once. If you're working with your feet on the wall or the sofa, you're going to bend your knees and stand your feet on the wall. That's it. Don't worry about the wall. And you're going to start to press into your feet. That's it. So that your pelvis starts to come away from the floor and you're rolling up through your spine. And Kim, I reckon you could probably still shuffle a bit nearer to the wall, actually. Good. And just see how it feels to roll up and down a few times. And it might be that you just want to stay with the rolling. Keep really noticing, you know, as your pelvis and some of your spine come off the floor, how do your shoulders feel? Rebecca, I think you'd be better if you turned your purple mat the other way around, because you've got a couple of uneven edges under your neck. And it's going to be a bit like the princess and the pea. We don't notice it now. But so delicate. Yes. Those little things that if you do go any further, that's like, oh, that's so good. See, that's nice, Kim. And I would just, for you, I would do a bit of that. Come down, maybe like roll your head a little bit, you know, just, yeah, in between. So don't roll your head when you're up, but come down and roll your head in between. Go back up again. Just feel your way into it. If you feel that you want to go into shoulder stand, by all means do so. Yeah, I found it really interesting actually, because when I was doing this earlier, I did shoulder stand 3 times, and the 3rd time I felt I could go a bit more upright, but then I started to feel headachy, and I thought, okay, I don't really want to inflict a headache. So, Rebecca, you walk down, yeah. I don't know if you can stand your feet. They don't necessarily have to be on the edge of the sofa. They could be on the seat. What works better? I would say you probably need your purple mat a little bit higher, further away from the sofa, I'm afraid. Yeah, can you see it's coming out from your shoulders? Yeah. Difference in leg length here. Difference in leg length. Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm with you on the short leg side of things. Well, and also there is slightly a different proportional thing. When you're using the sofa, you've sort of got to be a different distance from the sofa to the wall. That's nice. And then so I would definitely say if you go into shoulder stand, go in and out a few times. Don't sort of feel that you have to stay there. That's it. Well done. And just a few breaths before you go back in. And if you don't feel like going back in, that's fine. But also just, we always use this example, dog pose. You know, if we only ever did one dog pose, so that's it, Rebecca. If you then stretch your heels to the ceiling, that's it. And that might just make you feel quite nice and tall. Good. And then the other thing that's quite nice to do, the other thing, if you've done a couple of shoulder stands, it can be quite nice to do the variation where you keep one leg long in shoulder stand and fold one knee to your forehead. So you might like to try that, Caleb. That's it. So you just bring one knee, that's it. It's quite nice. And then you reach up through the heel of the long leg, and the other knee, that's nice, Kim. Yeah, exactly. And the other knee folds to the forehead. So that can just be quite a nice sort of quietening thing to do in the shoulders. But obviously just keep paying attention all the time to how your neck's feeling, how your eyes are feeling, how your head is feeling. If you start to feel at all headachy, then it really is probably a sign that you should come back. Rebecca, actually did this light a bit. Think about headaches, because you tend to be a bit of a headache person, don't you? The excuse. Yeah, so come down if you know, I'll have a couple of minutes of lying quietly. So if you do feel that you want to go up one more time, you can do. You've done plenty, so don't feel that you need to. And it might be, yes, that's it, Kim. You might be quite nice to come down to do a bit of letting your head roll from side to side. So just to have a few quiet breaths, perhaps settling the head down, just having a few quiet breaths. I was thinking earlier when I was doing shoulder standing, and after it as well, I always find it quite hard. It's more better when I've done it. I feel this sort of empty feeling, not empty. Very empty, sort of nice, quiet empty. Yes, so perhaps have another quiet breath or two wherever you are, and then we'll listen our mats out. and make sure you're warm enough, because we'll come to do some floor twists. You're doing all right there, temperature-wise? Yeah. So I've got little blankets. so yeah, so lengthen your mats out and lie down. And I think what we'll start by doing is just a little bit of bending the knees, standing the feet on the floor, letting the knees tilt to the right and to the left. So there's no rush, just sort of make your way down into this, seeing how it feels. Good. And some of you, we did that sort of tilting of the knees at the beginning of class. We did the tilting of the knees with the feet a bit wider apart on the mat. And you could do a little bit of that as well if you like. So when I was doing shoulder stand earlier, these are the sort of things I was doing. And I was thinking, oh, but what I really want to do is do a floor twist where I fold my knees into my chest. So if you quite like this one where you are tilting your knees from side to side, you could stay there. But if you wanted to move on to the other sort of floor twist where you fold your knees into your chest, and in fact what I tend to do these days is then take my legs up to the ceiling, and then when my legs are still quite long, wrap one arm around the back of the legs and then let the feet fold in, and take the other arm out on the floor at shoulder height. So that shoulder's going to stay on the floor, and the arm's going to support the knees as they come down onto the floor. To that side, the side of the supporting arm. No, not that way, the other way, sorry. That's it, the opposite direction to the long arm.
That was my instinct.
Yes, no, well done, it was a good instinct. I suddenly floundered in my instructions there, that's it. So at that point, you can support your legs with your arm, or you can release your legs onto the floor. If your shoulder staying settled? Yeah, if your shoulder stays settled, that's great. If your shoulder comes up, you might want to support your knees with a cushion. And then just let yourself settle here. Let the shoulders settle, let the arms settle, let the knees settle. Let the breath flow in, the breath flow out. I've probably said this in previous evenings, but sometimes I find in this twist that I can just stay there forever. That's just lovely. Sometimes it feels like I don't want to be there so long. So if that's the case for you, just do feel you can come back to the centre if you feel you've had enough. Well, your head could either be in the centre, or if it's comfortable, you could roll it towards the outstretched arm, because it helps that shoulder settle down a bit. But you've got to judge whether your neck, because for a long time my neck wasn't really that. It's perfectly fine to have. Just staying put. Yeah, so you can have another breath or two down on that side. See how we're doing that. You can come back to the centre. And so when you come back to the centre, again, I would take my legs back up to the ceiling, give them a little shake out. And so whichever arm was on the floor, this time that arm is going to wrap around the back of the legs, that's the back of the knees, the other arm on the floor at shoulder height. And it's easy this time, isn't it? We know where the legs go because the legs go to the other side. So the legs always go in the direction of the supporting arm, because the arm is there to help slowly lower the legs to the ground. Yeah, and then exactly, try and find a comfortable, yeah, it's really important then to find a comfortable position for the arm that's resting on the floor. And it can be closer to your body if you like. You might want to turn the palm up, palm down. You might find you want to roll your head towards that outstretched arm. And then, you know, your arm might carry on supporting your legs, or you might take the arm out. Come in. We're going to, you can have another couple of breaths in this twist, and then we'll make our way back to the centre, and we'll just finish with a bit of quiet breathing, lying down. So, could you get another blanket? Yes. Kim, would you like a blanket? Yes. So yes, so make sure you're going to be warm. In your homes, no. I'm just going to make sure I'm warm. Your timing's a bit off. No. Too early, Otto. Right. Yes, I think the dogs are very good at recognising people, so. Comes you in this into darkness, but that's probably better, isn't it? Okay, so I've sort of, yes, everyone's settling down. I've plunged us into darkness. So settle down with the blankets. Just jumper, making sure you're warm. Allow your body to settle and rest. As our body quietens, we can become aware of, sometimes become more aware of that sort of inner chatter. It can be helpful to be aware of sounds around us, and perhaps the sounds of the wind. And it can be really helpful to back the feeling of notice where your attention is. It's easy at this point to drift off away from the present. Just gather your attention back to your breathing, perhaps feeling the back of your body in contact with the ground. Also to those sounds that are our houses or beyond with the trees. you. Just take your time. Carry on having a snooze over there. So thank you very much. Turn on the light because it looks like I'm plunged into darkness here.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Lovely to see you, Ruth, and lovely to see you, Kayla. I never see all of you, but I'm so pleased your holiday was good, Kayla.
Thanks, Kara. It was lovely.
Oh, that was lovely.
Have a good week.
Can I just ask, did everyone else, I struggled to hear at the end.
Was the sound worse? Because
I really struggled. I couldn't hear you. Was I the only one on the screen?
Because I don't know whether I was slightly concerned that the AirPod wasn't working tonight, actually. Because I'm not sure whether it was working. So.
Oh, what? You're not. You're
well, I'm trying to use AirPods as with command. So I'm using an AirPod as a microphone, but I'm not sure whether it actually turned itself on properly. So I need to double check that. Because usually it comes up with a thing on the screen.
Maybe it was just me, but it felt much fainter than when I've been on before. And when we were lying down, I couldn't hear at all, actually.
Okay.
Because I think you were speaking, but I couldn't hear anything.
Mute, so if you wanted to unmute. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I was the only one
working.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'll double check because I'll double check when I sign off that it whether
and I don't know if it was just me because mine kept freezing a bit as well.
Well, do you always say if the sound is bad, do tell me because I can try,
Oh, okay.
I've got some other. Cam's got some new different ones I can try as well.
Yeah,
so
because when I did it before, it was much clearer. Yeah.
Interesting. Kayla, what about from your end? Was the sound bad?
Jan,
I can't hear it in and out. I mean, the internet connection wasn't great, which might have had that effect. So
yeah.
But I couldn't hear either, Ruth. Can you hear me?
Hear either.
You couldn't hear either.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No. I can't hear you at all though, Jan. So there seems to be some problem with your.
When you were doing the lying down, I thought it had frozen it hadn't. I could hear the bell, but the bowl, but I just couldn't hear anything else.
I'll look. Not working. Anyway, it
was lovely though. It was really nice.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. But it was lovely to do it again. I can realise how much I need it. I haven't been doing it. Thank you.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.